Automobile parts, hairbrushes, and electronic equipment. They say I can sell anything. I'd like to try to sell something to you. Valhalla, Mr. Beale. Please sit down.
I like how he closes the blinds, makes the room real dark and quiet.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature, Mr. Beale, and I won't have it. Is that clear? You think you merely stopped a business deal? That is not the case. The Arabs have taken billions of dollars out of this country, and now they must put it back. It is ebb and flow, tidal gravity. It is ecological balance. You are an old man who thinks in terms of nations and peoples. There are no nations. There are no peoples. There are no Russians. There are no Arabs. There are no third worlds. There is no West. There is only one holistic system of systems. One vast and immane, interwoven, interacting, multivariate, multinational dominion of dollars. Petrodollars, electrodollars, multi-dollars, rank marks, rings, rubles, pounds, and shekels. It is the international system of currency which determines the totality of life on this planet. That is the natural order of things today. That is the atomic and subatomic and galactic structure of things today. And you have meddled with the primal forces of nature. And you will atone. Am I getting through to you, Mr. Beale?
You get up on your little 21-inch screen and howl about America and democracy. There is no America. There is no democracy. There is only IBM and ITT and AT&T and DuPont, Dow, Union Carbide, and Exxon. Those are the nations of the world today. What do you think the Russians talk about in their councils of state? Karl Marx? They get out their linear programming charts, statistical decision theories, min-and-max solutions, and compute the price-cost probabilities of their transactions and investments, just like we do. We no longer live in a world of nations and ideologies, Mr. Beale. The world is a college of corporations, inexorably determined by the immutable bylaws of business. The world is a business, Mr. Beale. It has been since man crawled out of the slime. And our children will live, Mr. Beale, to see that
Listen to this shit.
perfect world in which there's no war or famine, oppression or brutality. One vast and ecumenical holy God, for whom all men will work to serve a common profit, in which all men will hold a share of stock, all necessities provided, all anxieties tranquilized, all boredom amused. And I have chosen you, Mr. Beale, to preach this evangel.
Why me?
Because you're on television, dummy. 60 million people watch you every night of the week, Monday through Friday.
I have seen the face of God.
You just might be right, Mr. Beale.
Wow. That's some piece. I highly recommend everybody gets a chance to see Network. One of the greatest films ever made, but it really digs into that. I mean, listen to what what he was saying about providing your needs and no war, and well, that's the globalist fraud, because it's everything the opposite of that. Of course, they need war, they create war, they sustain war. Welcome to the New World Order. Anyway, here's a little more news since we're going into the final hour here at We Are Change. Again, you can call in or fax us in here anytime. Alright, nformradio.com. So listen, this is a very interesting article that I have from the Daily News, and it's dated October 14th. A former New York Police Department narcotics detective snared in a corruption scandal testified it was common practice to fabricate drug charges against innocent people to meet arrest quotas. Well, this actually is interesting because I did a show the other day covering the criminal elements and corruption in the prison system, and this illustrates that very much, because look, they're putting innocent people in on trumped up or illegal charges, getting them through the system, and incarcerating them in these private prisons. It's unbelievable. I still can't take enough time to talk about this. I talked about it the other day. I do plan on doing another show. I have some local people that have some gripes about how this tyranny is going on, and it has happened here in Torrington, and there's impending legislation going on, or I should say litigation going on, that I will talk about once that's I'm able to. But this really bothers me. I mean, it really does. I just I can't I can't understand how they get away with this. So here's what happened. Stephen Anderson is giving the first account of the twisted culture between the false arrests in Brooklyn South and Queens narcotics squads, and it led to the arrest of 8 cops and a massive shakeup. Anderson testified under cooperation, and he was busted for planting cocaine, a practice known as flaking, on 4 men in a Queens bar in 2008 to help fellow cop Henry Tavares, whose buy and bust activity had been low. Wow. Incredible. Well, they did it many times. In Denver, protesters returned downtown to Denver on Friday after law enforcement officers in full riot gear swept through the occupied Denver campsite in front of the Colorado State Capitol Friday morning. Nearly 24 people who refused orders to disperse overnight were arrested. None were injured. The Colorado State Patrol says officers arrested 21 people for unlawful conduct on public property, a misdemeanor which could carry a sentence of 3 months to up to a year in jail. You know they're going to be rolling a lot of these people. Surprisingly, the Colorado State Patrol says none of those arrests appear to be directly connected with the Occupy Denver movement. How interesting! The people that we're dealing with, the more antagonistic, the more aggressive ones, the ones who were breaking the law and were sticking around in violation, blah blah blah, violating curfew. Oh God. And in violation of state law, they were not represented in. They were not representing Occupy Denver. That's what the Sergeant Mike Sanchez of the Colorado State Patrol says. In an interview with Fox 31, the Denver anchor Ron Zappolo, Occupy Denver organizer Rick Ramirez said that those arrested were simply looking to confront law enforcement. There was a small splinter group that hadn't been there before at all. Ha! Now there we go. There was a small splinter group that hadn't been there at all. They were wearing black capes and different things, and we're trying to stir it up. There's an example of the the controlled opposition, the false flagging, if you like. See, energy companies raking bigger profits this year while people struggle to cover bills. What a shock. This is from The Guardian, dated October 14th. Yeah, wow. The big six utility companies are making 125 million a year out of each of their dual fuel customers, and the figure has risen by $733 in 4 months. Globalists also warn. This is interesting. The regulator also revealed that the average household energy bill stands at $1,345 on a rolling 12-month average compared to $1,170 in June. So that's going to be nice, going up. Wow, incredible! And this is across the. This is in Europe. This is in America and Europe as well. U.S. budget gap widens. Tops $1 trillion for the third year in a row. The budget gap widened slightly in fiscal 2001, staying above $1 trillion for the third straight year. Of course, it's just going to get worse. Providing fodder for political, because they're deindustrializing us. They're building up other nations and taking the wealth from us. Everybody, wake up! Energy companies raking these profits, making all this money across the globe. Claiming that they have high energy costs when they shut down coal power plants, and Obama's out there, saying if you build a coal power plant, I'll bankrupt you, and the Rockefellers are screaming for the green movement, attacking BP, attacking his own company's interests, with the controlled opposition saying that we can't drill for any oil. It's unbelievable, in America, because they want to lock up. Of course, they want to lock up the Middle East. That's their goal: lock up the Middle East. And of course, we're going to just flounder. Now, listen, there is on record. You can go to the U.S. Geological Survey. I think 3.2 billion recoverable barrels of oil underneath Montana and North Dakota, and nobody's talking about that. Let alone all the oil that's offshore. I can't understand. I know that we want to move away from fossil fuels, but why not in the process make it affordable? This is ridiculous. $5 a gallon of gas coming. It's only a matter of time. What are we paying now? $3.50, $4? It's gonna be $5, $6. And they're just gonna keep complaining, and they're saying, no, we're not gonna release the strategic reserves, and we're not gonna allow you to drill. On and on. That's what it does. It just moves on and on and on, and nobody realizes, or I should say screams loud enough. I guess I have to scream a little louder. Drill the fucking oil. Drill for some fucking oil. God, it's unbelievable. We torture ourselves every year, and nobody's making any more money. The wages are down. Everything costs more. They're killing us. And it's not these rich, you don't just tax the rich like these assholes are on TV saying, tax the rich. These assholes on television drive me nuts. You got them saying, well, we're just going to tax the rich. Tax the rich. They show them in any of the protesters, we got to tax the rich, or whatever. Or they're saying, well, it's not about that. We have to tax the corporations. And, they're all going across the board, not looking at the problem. It's the Federal Reserve. Get these maggots, these succubuses out of our government. They're controlling all interests. Goldman Sachs. It's part of the Federal Reserve System. The whole thing is just so wicked. We must really rise up against these bankers. This is just unbelievable. But it's not, your local banker, you're not your teller, and say, go protest outside of Bank of America like they did here in Waterbury, Connecticut yesterday. I was almost laughing because, it makes a good point, but the truth of the matter is you got to start writing signs, Rothschild, like Occupy Rothschild, like Paul Joseph Watson posted on my Facebook page. I shared that, and that was great, and it's a great post, and yeah, why doesn't somebody start that? We should just all get together and start that. Occupy Rothschild.